Hello, everybody. Hope you're all having a good Friday. Yes, Friday is finally here after a long week, but I feel like the weather update is actually much needed for this upcoming week and weekend. And why is that? Well, it's actually because various parts of the Northwest and Rockies are actually experiencing really an abrupt shift in weather patterns, which will really just have some people asking themselves, where did summer go? Really just wondering if summer is just transitioning into winter here, once we see this temperature switch in the coming days. Well, some of you actually know, in the Northwest United States, it has been just scorching over the summer. If some of you actually even recall, there was actually a moment during this past summer when temperatures soared all the way into the triple digits. This is really just unbearable, well above average. Really the norm here for most of the summer, especially during that juncture there. But I mean, if we actually just look at the temperature outlook into the future here, all the way into Tuesday, we see that there is a drop. Like here, we're looking at still below average as of right now. This front is actually already passing through, and we're seeing temperatures dip down into the 40s and 50s. Let's just actually just go back a couple days here. Already seeing much warmer temperatures into the upper 50s, maybe even the 60s here in around Idaho, even to the lower 70s. But I'm still here in the mid 50s. This is actually before the front passed through the area. If we just fast forward all the way to Tuesday, if we actually just fast forward a bit and look at this temperature outlook into as of Tuesday, you can already see that the cooler air has already arrived in this area. As you can see, temperatures are now into the mid 30s, even into the 40s. So the cooler air has already arrived in the Northwest in response to a cold front that actually will eventually pass through, which will actually lead to a gradual drop in temperatures that we will continue to see over the next couple of days. Even if we fast forward a little more, even into Wednesday, see it gets even cooler here. Temperature anomaly is actually showing that Seattle may only reach a high of maybe 50 degrees in this area. If we actually just fast forward a little more to the afternoon hours, you can see, yeah, really maybe 50 here in Seattle. Actually, roughly 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. Let's fast forward here to when the front actually finishes passing through, roughly about here. So really, by the end of this weekend to late Sunday, that's when the South is going to get their fair share of this system. But once we get into next week, we finally see a break from these cooler temperatures, finally rising back into the 50s and 60s here. We just saw there for a second, it's going to go back into the 60s into Oregon. So yeah, even into the 70s again in Idaho. But if we actually compare it to when the front is actually just initially passed through, you can see that, wow, we definitely have a drop in temperatures, even at 33 degrees here. Granted, there could be a higher elevation in this area because we do have the Cascades of Washington and Oregon, but still well above average. You can even see here, if you get into the northern Rockies, even into Idaho, we could see temps even dipping it down to the teens, 15 degrees here. And it's only October. Keep that in mind. Like I said, if we just compare it to prior to when the cold front actually proceeded through, we could see that even if we go back into Tuesday, we could see, just go really far back in here just to give you a better perspective. You could see really the mid 70s here, almost into the 80s as well, in portions of Idaho and northern Rockies. Completely different story. So yeah, that many of these areas that are actually going to be affected by this front nearly reached 80 degrees the previous day. And highs, only at highs getting into the 60s and 70s the day after it actually elapsed. But once it really sets in, we see, like I said, it's really going to be a gradual process. You can see that we see more blue showing up here in the anomaly, seeing some of these cooler temperatures really sneak in here. Really just beginning to expand as this front moves through. You can see right here, it's actually a good representation. How it just crawls through the south. Even to get into the Southwest, that's what I'm also going to talk about here in a second. How even we get into New Mexico and Arizona, 25 degrees. This is near like Flagstaff, Arizona, 25 degrees. Of course, we also have Utah, even Nevada, really the desert here in the Southwest. So it's really going to begin here in the Northwest, coming down from Canada. Then it's going to end up swinging all the way down to the Southwest. And you can see, look at this contrast we have here. These cooler temperatures are going to collide with the warmer temperatures. That is the next topic I'm going to get into here shortly, where we're going to see maybe some severe weather here. But up for right now, actually what we're going to talk about, this actually may be part of the second front we're going to see. It's actually going to be two fronts. This one, you can see, is actually a good image of the first front. It's not going to be as cool. We're going to see some more mild temperatures. But although we may see some days cooler than others due to more cloud coverage, precipitation, and so forth, the colder air has actually been affecting areas even further east into Montana, as you can see here, getting into the 40s and 50s. Keep in mind, this is only part of the first front. Those are overnight temperatures, that's why it gets into the 20s here. But here's some of the daytime temperatures, still in the lower 50s, still just slightly below average. But like I said, even around Montana, just a couple days before, even on Tuesday, where highs nearly rose into the 80s, which may I add is very above average for this time of year. But now we're only going to see a high of maybe around 50 degrees, as you can see here. Oh, this is actually today. So even if we look yesterday, it actually looks even cooler. Yeah, really getting into the mid 50s. And then just the day before, boom, we get into we just saw 77 degrees there. We're seeing 80 degrees, 84, and then just shortly in just one day, we're gonna be into the lower 50s. It's definitely a switch here in temperatures. But now as I actually move on to the next impact from this front, just besides the cold air, I have a feeling plenty of you already know what else we're facing when we see a cold front like this. What's really associated with these fronts, as well as a strong low pressure system station in the Midwest, steering this front eastward. Well, if you guessed a thunderstorm, you would actually be partially correct, depending on the area we're talking about. But here's what I mean. But we'll actually be moving to the northern Rockies here on to. Let me actually just get back into the present. Here we are on Friday right now. We could already see some of these cooler temperatures in effect. And the storm will actually begin to cool things down. It'll actually begin to form as well if we move here. This is today. We could already see some lots of rain beginning to gather here in the radar. You see some of those blue bubbles right there. They're really just scattered around actually. There may actually be some isolated mini snowstorms forming in the higher elevations. But across the northern Rockies, with just conventional rain expected in other regions further north at lower elevations, you can see here mainly just like a uniform green just across Nevada and Utah. In the case of the cold front we're seeing move currently, as we just saw in a temperature anomaly, bringing temps down to the 50s and maybe some of the upper 40s. This first front we're facing, temperatures will likely actually be too high at ground, or not, I wouldn't say ground level, but lower elevations. We may not really see any other precipitation other than rain through the end of the week. But despite this, there actually is some hope for some early season snow. We'll actually a second cold front move through this weekend with even more frigid air behind it. I actually kind of accidentally showed you guys that one here. If we actually move into the future. So even like as of right now, you see this blue showing up here in the northwest. This is actually still part of the first cold front. But if we actually move into later this weekend, by maybe roughly Sunday, Monday, we see a second cold front move through, and this is it right here. You see that darker purple? This is when we see temperatures get. You can see here in terms of Celsius, we're already in the negatives, meaning actually below freezing point. And you know what that means, below freezing point? That means the atmosphere actually be favorable for some snow, early season snow possibly. You really see how it just sweeps through the region, the second one. This definitely gives us some hope here. So definitely some early season snow we may be seeing. Even though really by early next year, once this winter is almost over, we will be wishing for the complete opposite and wanting what's on the other side of this front, which of course is the above average temperatures. But that's just the way it is. Once our bodies adapt to a different weather climate, it isn't long till we want to go back. But anyway, we very well could see a bit, notice I said a bit, of snowfall on Sunday in the Cascades of Washington and Oregon. If we actually look back here and fast forward to the second front, see some blue showing up here. Keep in mind this is actually the GFS. Even if we go to the higher resolution European model, we can still see that we're still roughly seeing the same system, same setup here. In terms of where the snow could be, maybe there's a little flip here. I think the GFS had the snow position a little more southwest, but still in the northwestern Cascades of Washington, maybe some snow there we may see. But by Monday and Tuesday, if we have to look back at the temperature anomaly, it's actually picking up a dip in the jet stream that'll be very apparent across even the southwest. You can see here. Look at the Nevada. You see this darker, or like this brighter purple, almost like a pinkish violet color. This is well above freezing point, around negative 13 degrees Celsius, which I'm pretty sure is roughly somewhere around, definitely in the teens. So we even get into the southwest here, it's really becomes much more widespread. Temperatures really getting into the 30s, 40s in this area. Yeah, I even showed you guys earlier, really around Flagstaff, maybe a high of 25 degrees one day. So really anywhere from really southern Montana into southern Arizona, we may not even see temperatures higher than 45, 50 degrees. Really just a giant cold front. It's going to be sweeping through the region. Very strong one. You can see right here. Look at how this low pressure set up here right around just northeast of the Four Corners region, getting into the southern plains, upper Midwest. You can see here this is the center of this entire system. Of course, we also have it set up in the jet stream positioned correctly so we can get this cooler air sweeping in, moving southeast and then mainly east into the southern Midwest, which is actually the next point I want to bring up. So now we're seeing this system move east, and this essential bubble embedded with cooler air that's in the southwest, not even cold, just cold, frigid air. This actually means that it will eventually end up in the Midwest if we actually even fast forward here. We can see it really begins to collide. Obviously not as cool because once it collides with this warmer air, it won't be as strong of a front. But you can still see here this it's almost like battle line, this battlefront here that's stretching across the Midwest. This will actually end up in the Midwest, interchangeably known as the notorious Tornado Alley. This contrast in warm and cold air this contrast in warm and cooler air mass may actually lead to significant snowfall in parts of the west. Not even just the Rockies anymore. I mean, just look at this. Look at this cooler air. A lot of it below freezing, just stretching across the west here. We may see even some significant snowfall from this front, not even just a dusting, especially in the higher elevations. May see several inches of snow. But it may actually also bring severe weather into the Midwest. It's very well possible. But now these models actually indicate that this storm will intensify to a crazy dynamic storm in the northern Rockies, causing even some travel disruptions as the first snowfall of the season occurs. Really not much preparation since it's the first snowfall. Very unseasonable. Even early season snow is what you really call this. But you also have to consider that various big cities could be in the line for this first accumulating snow. It is even rather unlikely that snow will even accumulate in major cities such as Salt Lake City at this time of year, or even Denver. But a few snowflakes could be mixed with rain, but would not be entirely ruled out. As I mentioned, Flagstaff, Arizona is really going to be one of these cities. We're going to see this this frigid air move through. It even has a chance of seeing some small accumulation because it is still really consumed in this cooler air. But now I'm going to focus on what I mentioned earlier, which is the severe weather that'll really make itself present in the Midwest. So this first system is going to move through this low pressure system. It's going to bring that first front with it. Then we're going to get another system here. Another low pressure system, about roughly 1,000 millibars, is going to pop up here in Texas. It's definitely going to spin off some storms as well, along with a front. It's not very visible here, but you can still see this dip, what you call a trough in the jet stream still present here. And many of these storms will really pop up across the Midwest later this weekend. That's when we're looking at. While some individual storms may actually be remarkably severe. But you know that word is it's really a red flag with potential hail and heavy rain with wind gusts as high as 30 to 40 miles per hour. If we look at the jet stream, we'll actually see that the not the same upper atmospheric disturbance is going to be another one that's going to form here around Oklahoma. We're going to get that convergence and that lift that we're going to need here for this front and this low pressure system to really thrive. But we'll definitely move through the west here during this later this weekend. It will bring a potent series of storms to the south central United States, as we're seeing here. The Euro model. If we look at the say the NAM model, for instance, really around this time. That's still part of the first system. It's going to bring the first round of cooler air, and then we're going to get even cooler air. When snow is also going to appear. You can see right here that line of storms. It's not too evident on the NAM model, but we can still see it here, very present in Texas, eastern Oklahoma. I'll actually get to the Storm Prediction Center outlooks in just a second to emphasize on those greatest risks. But many of these locations throughout the Southern Plains actually started the month warmer than usual, which will actually result in the region's vulnerability to really get this explosive storm activity later this week due to the unseasonably warm temperatures forecast. It's really not looking like we're going to get anything really normal. For some, not really anything suitable. It's either going to be too cold or too hot, whatever region you're talking about here. But it is possible some thunderstorms to develop later in the day on Sunday. We go to later this weekend, we're going to see these storms fire up here in the Midwest. Like I said, it is possible for thunderstorms to develop earlier in the day on Sunday, but the most intense severe storms are actually expected to develop later Sunday afternoon or even closer to Sunday evening. Maybe even some Monday morning thunderstorms may still begin to form. But soon, eventually, these storms are finally going to move out and begin to dissipate here once it gets into the upper Midwest, maybe even into the Ohio Valley a bit. Once it moves into Missouri, Illinois, maybe begin to weaken a little more as the temperatures are kind of going to be more uniform and stable. Like I said, the storms are finally going to move east into the overnight hours, maybe a little more northeast though. After that. Where several major metropolitan areas lie in this area of greatest risk if we actually move back here into the even the Southern Plains may get some storms, but really mainly our main focal point is going to be, and look at this skull line making this one, this whole complex of storms, really across Texas and Oklahoma. But several major cities lie in this area, including parts of eastern Texas, Oklahoma, southeastern Kansas as well, even western Arkansas. It's not going to weaken just yet. It's also possible that more than one type of severe weather will be present. Hail, damaging winds, flooding, combined with downpours. Tornadoes or hail can even accompany these stronger storms. So everyone needs to make sure that they get all their plans done if possible, really before Sunday. But it's best to stay off the roads during these conditions and during really just weather events like these. But considering that there are an increased chance of storms in the south central U.S., this is therefore an area that you should really pay more closer attention to this forecast as the storm intensifies. And outbreak areas may actually change for the worse. So there's some uncertainty to this. But so basically this weekend we are likely to see a very complex and dynamic system, even into next week as well, that'll bring very little to plenty snow. Really not even, really I feel like we're going to see more snow, just going to be more limited to the Rockies. But in terms of like a dusting or like small accumulations, really, I mean, if we just look here, a giant portion, all the way up to Montana, all the way down to Arizona, Nevada. Especially the Rockies, see some of that darker blue, but even in the portions like Flagstaff, maybe northwestern New Mexico, all at that risk for some snowfall. Our next impact from the system is going to be the severe weather that we may see in the southern plains or Midwest. May even see some tornado activity as well. Keep in mind that the atmosphere may be right. We're not exactly sure. I don't think I can actually check on prediction centers tornado risk for that far ahead to Sunday. But if we actually look, I have to go check the wind shear as well. But there is definitely a chance with this contrast in air mass. We have that warmer air on the eastern side, and that cooler air in the west. We may even get some circulation in here as well. But I mean, all there is more than likely due to it being fall and way past tornado season. However, cold fronts tend to actually plunge into the south during the autumn season, which is actually what we're seeing right now, where they collide with steamy air flowing northward from the Gulf of Mexico to bring more of that chilly weather to the south. So this is severe tornadic activity that is not completely unlikely as we are seeing now, but still possible. So anyway, guys, that's really what I wanted to cover in this video. Definitely a very interesting setup we have here. Definitely something to tune into later this weekend. See some of this, especially on Sunday, and we see some definitely some severe weather, late season severe weather pop up here around Texas. Maybe one of the last hurrahs before winter comes. But even so, you're never really safe from any kind of severe or tornadic activity. That's just the way the weather is. So you need to make sure that you stay weather aware and stay safe. Hope you all enjoyed this update, and see you guys in the next one.